Hurricane season is underway. It's that time of year that fills Floridians with uncertainty. And also, this year, some new questions.
Can AI give us more accurate forecasts? Will El Nino save us from a devastating hurricane season? And how can you use technology to protect your home? Welcome to Surviving the Storm. I'm Max Defender 8 meteorologist Rebecca Berry.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baradelli. Let's begin with AI. Everyone has an opinion of it, but most will agree. If artificial intelligence can improve hurricane forecasts, everyone benefits. Max Defender 8 meteorologist Juliana Mejia takes a closer look at what's distinguishing AI models from the rest.
Traditional forecast models are physics-based models that use current atmospheric data to solve physical equations to then predict the state of the atmosphere in the future. AI models are a bit different. Let's take a look. They're built by training machine learning and deep learning systems to recognize patterns within decades of past data. These models learn relationships between weather variables such as pressure, temperature, and wind based on historical global observations. They then estimate future conditions based on those relationships and patterns. So what gives AI models the edge?
So the AI models, they're computationally cheap, so they run really fast compared to traditional weather models.
So fast that according to the University of Chicago, they can render a forecast up to 100,000 times faster and look over 24 hours further into the future, increasing the warning time for extreme weather events.
So with AI models, you can run tens or even hundreds of various scenarios, or what we call ensembles, within a very short period of time. So it gives you the ability to really look at the forecast uncertainty and how that's changing from cycle to cycle. They can also be run at very high resolution because of the computational benefits there.
But there are limitations.
And they're only as good as the data they're trained on. So some of the initial AI models were pretty good for track because they were trained on these large-scale analyses of the atmosphere, but those don't capture hurricane intensity very well. So some of the early AI models really struggled for forecasting intensity.
What would your life look like if you could have a 30-day forecast?
Companies like Windborne, based out of California, are taking things to the next level by combining their own AI model with their growing network of weather balloon observations.
These weather balloons can fly for hundreds of times longer than traditional weather balloons. And in that time, circumnavigate the globe, fly out into all of these data deserts, and collect the data that everyone else was previously missing.
I would get frustrated with my weather forecast or with my weather person, and that being just kind of like a day-to-day point of anxiety or frustration without really reconciling the fact that only 15% of the Earth's atmosphere is properly observed.
The data collected from their weather balloons is then used within their AI forecast model, WeatherMesh.
Windborne's forecast was twice as accurate as existing forecasts at the time for where Hurricane Ian would make landfall. We actually flew a balloon into the eye wall of Hurricane Ian. We piloted in to drop in over the top and ended up getting some great data on the inside of it.
But we also have to understand that hurricane is not just a tracker intensity forecast. You've got to get into storm surge, the rainfall, the winds. What's the footprint of those hazards going to look like?
AI will probably never replace human meteorologists and will likely never be the only forecasting tool. But it has already greatly improved tropical forecasting and should only get better with time. I'm meteorologist Juliana Mejia, 8 on your side.
Okay, now's the moment that everybody's been waiting for. How active could it be for our hurricane season? Well, there's a big clue that we look for, and it's El Nino. And a strong El Nino is forming right now in the eastern tropical Pacific. You can see just how warm the waters are, and they are forecast to get warmer. This is our computer model as we head into the fall, and you can see all these dark shades of red, indicating well above average water temperatures. In fact, a record El Nino is very possible. So why does that mean quieter than normal weather and hurricanes in the Atlantic? Let me show you why. Because typically with that warm water, we have a lot of rising air across the Pacific. What goes up must come down. It tends to crush development over the relatively cooler waters of the Atlantic. Number two, when you have warm water in the eastern Pacific, you get a lot of thunderstorms there, and that causes a lot of wind shear in the Atlantic. So as systems try to form, they oftentimes have to fight a hostile environment, and they can get torn apart. So when we look forward to the precipitation forecast across the Atlantic basin as we head into the fall, fall, so really August, September, and October, the vast majority is brown. Brown indicates below normal precipitation, so a lot of the basin should be quiet. However, I'll point out that close to home, we have above normal precipitation, which means we could see some close to home systems, and that's why we need to be prepared. And I'll leave you with this. I compared the 5 strongest La Niñas with the 5 strongest El Niños. On top, the La Niñas, and you can see there's a lot of activity and a lot of strong storms, whereas the El Niños shut down the Gulf and shut down the Caribbean, and there's a lot less major hurricanes. In fact, major hurricanes during the La Niñas, 18. Major hurricanes during the El Niños, only 7. But still, 7 major hurricanes means we need to be prepared every single year.
While the 2025 tropical season was relatively calm with no U.S. hurricane landfalls, that was not the case for Jamaica. Max Defender 8 Zuli Soler is here with us to look back on the fury of Hurricane Melissa.
Melissa shattered records as one of the strongest hurricanes ever observed in the Atlantic basin.
Melissa made landfall near New Hope, Jamaica on October 28th as a powerful Category 5 hurricane. But its development into this monster of a storm started 15 days earlier as a tropical wave left Africa, crossed the Atlantic, and strengthened in the Caribbean, where it slowed and developed into a tropical storm on October 21st. As Melissa remained over extremely warm waters of 86 to 88 degrees and encountered decreasing wind shear, it became better organized and rapidly intensified. Maximum sustained winds doubled from 70 to 140 miles per hour in less than 24 hours on October 25th. Then, during a second phase of rapid intensification on the 27th, Melissa strengthened into a Category 5 hurricane and made a dramatic turn north before making landfall, delivering catastrophic damage to western Jamaica with significant storm surge, flooding, destructive wind gusts, and near total destruction in some communities. The storm's outer rain bands also devastated other areas, including Hispaniola, leading to deadly flash floods and landslides.
Melissa tied the record for the highest peak maximum sustained winds in the Atlantic at 190 miles per hour, matching Hurricane Allen in 1980. It also had the strongest maximum sustained winds at landfall, 185 miles per hour, tying the record with the 1935 Labor Day hurricane and Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Proof that even a season that appears to be less active can still produce a hurricane with unimaginable impacts. Zuleika Soler, 8 on your side.
It's not a flight for the faint of heart. Every storm season, NOAA's Bay Area hurricane hunters take off on a wild ride.
When surviving the storm continues, the new technology that's packed into these rugged aircraft and how it's improving hurricane forecasting.
And also ahead, if you don't ever want to stress over storm surge flooding again, is this the answer? How some homeowners are making the choice to raise their houses and pay a sky-high price to take refuge above the waves.
Surviving the storm continues right after this. When a hurricane threatens Florida, every minute matters.
This year, Amanda Holly takes us inside the work of the hurricane hunters to show us how new technology is improving forecasts and giving us a better idea of how a storm is developing.
The hurricane hunters have been flying through storms for decades in these exact planes, but the mission is changing. With every pass through the storm, the data they collect is more valuable than ever.
We have the TDR on the back that takes 3D scans as we go through the storm, vertical scans. And they take that, they put it in their computer models, the National Hurricane Center, and then it adds a lot to the intensity forecast.
TDR stands for Tail Doppler Radar. It scans the structure of the hurricane from the inside out. And thanks to advancements in streaming technology, the collected data is used immediately.
We have satellite connection, so we can beam it off real time as we're collecting, and so it'll be more streamlined and get to the models faster.
That speed matters. The director of the National Hurricane Center, Dr. Michael Brennan, says aircraft data has become significantly more useful to forecast models over the last 10 to 15 years.
The aircraft data from the tail Doppler radar, the dropsons, the flight level winds, they all go into making the track and intensity forecast we get from the models as guidance 10 to 20% better.
Forecasting rapid intensification has also seen major progress just in the last 5 years.
We figured out how to use the data in the forecast models. It's a really hard problem, especially the data right in the inner core. Now we can really start to differentiate those higher end events.
The dropsonde is still considered one of the most important tools.
We have a big box of dropsondes, and about 25 to 30 of them will drop during a flight.
They fall by parachute, collecting 8 data points per second.
So like I'm getting temperature, I'm getting wind speed, I'm getting pressure, and then I quality check all that and then send it over to the weather officer.
Although they have been used for decades, the dropsondes themselves have changed.
These were a lot bigger, and then in the last 3 years, they've slimmed them down incredibly. So now we get to carry more of them. They work better than the bigger ones. So this is a huge improvement.
Even though the quality of the tried and true technologies are getting better, new equipment is being introduced to the lineup.
Black Swift is like the small expendable drone that we drop out. And it's like a dropsonde, but you can drive it around where you want it to go.
This is a crucial development which has already been proven successful. Critical energy transfers happen in the layer of the storm just above the ocean's surface. As impressive as these airplanes are, even they cannot safely fly there to sample it.
But they can fly down very close to the ocean surface for up to a couple hours and gather data in that environment where you can't fly a crewed aircraft. It's not safe. And if you launch a dropsonde, it's on the way down and it only samples in that environment for a few seconds.
After being in the testing phase the past couple of years, the data will be incorporated into certain hurricane models this season. These tests have shown to specifically improve intensity forecast accuracy by up to 10%.
And those will become an increasing part of what we do with aircraft. We're going to have crewed aircraft for a long time, but the uncrewed systems are going to become a nice supplement to the data they collect.
Every scan, every dropsonde, and every drone mission will lead to more accurate forecasts, but the message here remains the same. Be prepared, stay safe, and stay informed. Reporting in Lakeland, Amanda Holly, 8 on your side.
How is the Bay Area preparing for the big one? And just how high could the water go? Still ahead, how local officials are preparing for the worst and how you can too. Surviving the storm, we'll be right back.
The Tampa Bay area is particularly vulnerable to hurricanes.
Max Defender 8 meteorologist Justin Mosley shows us how the Bay Area's unique geography could bring out the worst Mother Nature has to offer.
It's hard to believe it's been 2 years since the Bay Area faced back-to-back storms, just 13 days apart. While it was a devastating and stressful time, things could have been much worse.
In 2024, Hurricane Helene brought water pouring out of the Hillsborough River, surrounding our studios here in downtown Tampa. All of this from a storm that never made a direct landfall here in the Bay Area. But what would happen if the right storm moved in at the right speed and the right angle, making a direct impact? Bay Area emergency managers have put together Project Phoenix, which imagines a worst-case scenario where Cat 5 winds push water into the bay, creating a devastating storm surge that floods much of Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. Widespread flooding on top of wind damage. The plan is to prepare. More training, more guidebooks, programs, and equipment.
We've acquired several new tools to assist us in responding to hurricanes, including recently an airboat. This allows us to access shallow waters for rescue situations.
Storm surge is the #1 killer from hurricanes and traditionally brings the most destruction to the coast. But rapidly rising waters from a surge can bring flooding impacts well inland.
Here on Webb Road in Town and Country, we're nearly 2 miles inland from Tampa Bay. But a major storm surge could bring water inland as high as this sign.
When it comes to Tampa Bay, it is a very sensitive area when it comes to storm surge.
Cody Fritz, storm surge specialist with the National Hurricane Center, explains.
So when you overlay a densely populated area on the coast with a very sensitive risk to storm surge. It's a recipe for bad outcomes.
An event our area hasn't seen since the 1920s when a hurricane made landfall near Tarpon Springs. So much has changed since then. We've seen a boom in population, more people who need to evacuate. Avoiding a last-minute rush on the highways is key.
You have to prepare ahead of time. You have to prepare your home. You have to prepare your family.
Hopefully the thought of the Hillsborough River going over our heads is motivation enough for you to prepare now. Make a plan, know your evacuation zone, and contact friends or relatives inland outside of the evacuation zone should a storm threaten. In Tampa, I'm Max Defender 8 meteorologist Justin Mosley.
If storms bring floodwaters to your neighborhood, but you love where you live, there's just one way to go. Still ahead on Surviving the Storm, I talk to people who are moving up instead of out.
Surviving the Storm. We'll be right back. The past few hurricane seasons have changed how we think about flooding. Some homeowners discovered they can't simply restore their flood-damaged homes.
One option, tear down and start from scratch, building a house that's higher off the ground. But what if you want to keep the home you love? Come with me to Sunset Beach, where new technology is allowing one house to rise above the risk.
We love, love, love Sunset Beach.
Amy and Tom bought this place 10 years ago. It was supposed to be their beach house, their retirement home, the place family came back to. Then the water started coming in.
We started with Hurricane ETA in 2020, and that was the first flood, and it was shocking to both of us. We had no idea about coastal flooding.
Then they learned about post-storm cleanup.
It's hellacious. It is absolutely the worst thing that we've been through. 4 times. It's dirty, it's stinky, it's backbreaking work, and it's hot because there's no air conditioning and it's miserable.
Then came another flood, then another. By the time Helene and Milton hit, Amy says the decision felt pretty clear.
So we started exploring the lift process because we were like, it's this or we're selling, because I'm not going through this.
Lifting a home is an enormous undertaking. It starts underneath the slab. Workers dig by hand, tunneling under the house to slide steel beams into place and separate the home from its old foundation.
And then they hydraulically lift it, and I kind of describe it as Jenga blocks that they put the house on as it goes up.
The process is wild to watch. An entire structure inching upwards around 2 inches per hour.
Then comes the helical pilings, and then the new footings tie into the helical pilings.
The lifting of the home itself is actually the fastest part of the process. It took a weekend to raise Tom and Amy's home to its new height. The real time-consuming work happens after the lift, reconnecting plumbing, rewiring the electrical system, and a long list of things most people would never think about until their front door is suddenly a flight of stairs above the ground. Raising a home is not realistic for every homeowner, but for families who flooded again and again, it's a technology that's helping them adapt to a flood-prone future. Raising a home is incredibly expensive. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete this intricate process. But for families considering their options, some say this is the choice that lets them stay.
And this was a quarter of the price.
A few miles to the north, just off the Intracoastal Waterway, another homeowner is going even higher. This 24-foot lift has drawn all sorts of attention online.
I actually crawled under the house, saw how they placed the jacks, the precision they use, just the knowledge that they have, the machines that they have. It's mind-blowing.
Officials with the company working on this project say demand has grown as more flood-prone neighborhoods look for ways to adapt after Helene and Milton. Jeremy Patterson with Modern House and Building Movers says the process is part construction, part engineering, and part emotional recovery.
Well, we drive a deep foundation system, so if the bulkhead blew out and he lost 10 foot of soil, his house would still stand on our foundation system. It is an unbelievable process. We elevate the structure. You know, the value is there. You could almost get $2 in return for the dollar you invest, right? And then the healing process is when we start elevating, knowing you're going to be safe for the next storm. So it increases the value a lot to your home.
This house will add an extra floor of living space, adding even more to the cost, but also increasing the home's value. Back on Sunset Beach, Amy and Tom say they know they won't be completely safe from hurricanes, but at least they won't be mopping floors and throwing out furniture again.
After the floods, you know, we didn't have to worry anymore.
Across Tampa Bay, more homes like this may start showing up in neighborhoods that have flooded repeatedly. It's an expensive and time-consuming process, but for some families, lifting the house is the difference between walking away and finding a way to stay.
And Holly Kenton from Mulberry sharing this video. This is Holly's front yard, flooded, lots of trees down there as well. That is a mess.
As Helene and Milton slammed the Bay Area in 2024, many of you witnessed the incredible power of these storms and the damage left behind.
We do have some video, and we appreciate all of our viewers sending it in.
And you shared your videos and photos with us.
WFLA.com/report it. You can also scan this QR code right there on your screen.
Report It allows you to upload to News Channel 8 and allows us to quickly get your images on the air.
This one was sent to us yesterday by Kendra in Siesta Keys.
Never take a risk, but if you can safely record what's happening, you can help us tell the stories in your neighborhood.
Thank you for joining us for Surviving the Storm.
Stay safe this hurricane season and stay with News Channel 8 as we prepare for whatever comes our way.